Guys, believe it or not, but this camera that you have in your pocket all the time is much more powerful at times compared to a professional grade DSLR camera. As I'm gonna go ahead and show you some amazing tips and tricks that I use day to day, because 80% of my videos that I shoot on my channel is actually filmed from this iPhone. So sit back and relax. I'm gonna show you how to actually use this camera to its full potential. Let's start off with the effects. Dolly zoom is my favorite feature that you can actually utilize on the iPhone, especially if you're using a 14 or 13 Pro with these three cameras. So the way this works is simply zoom in all the way at a subject, and as you're walking towards it, zoom out to give it this dolly zoom effect. You could do this vice versa. As you walk away from the subject, you can actually zoom in. So it really does make this trippy effects. And another thing for tip number 2 is the ultra wide lens. Just like an action camera, if you need to capture a moving shot and you don't have an action camera, don't panic, because this has happened to me before. If you use the ultra wide lens and you then start sprinting, if you play back that footage, come out looking extremely stable, as if you actually shot it with an action camera. Now, there's multiple ways to launch the camera app. On the home page, you can either swipe left and it'll quickly take you to your camera. You can always tap the camera icon right here, or if you unlock your device and actually go over the camera app, you can actually long press to go into selfie, record video, or other camera modes right then and there. But if you like to take quick selfies, you can also verbally request Siri to launch the camera app, or actually go on the shortcut app and go ahead and quickly launch it. If you go in the gallery section and you actually type in Say Cheese, this is already pre-made by Apple. You can just add this, and now whenever you verbally just talk to Siri and you say Cheese, it will actually take a picture just like that without you having to actually touch the iPhone. And if you like to make an edit, if you want it to be the back camera instead or front camera, you can always just find it in all your shortcut section. Tap the 3-dot icon on the shoulder right here and select front and back. This is where you can actually go in and save if you want the front or the back camera to be the default. Now, whenever you need to transfer photos and videos from your phone to your computer, or you like to airdrop to another device, unfortunately it becomes compressed, which means it loses some resolution. If you notice why sometimes the video playback on your phone looks crispy and sharp compared to when you're viewing it on your computer, it's because Apple automatically compresses it to make it smaller, especially when you airdrop it. You have to go in settings, actually select keep original. To go ahead and do this, go into your iPhone settings and look for the photo app and scroll all the way down to where it says transfer to Mac or PC. Disable automatic and select keep original. This way the image is original to the video that you shot on your iPhone. Only con to this, it will take up more space, but for content creators, this is worth it. Or even for general, just so long as you are aware of this capability. Now, since we're here in the settings section, there's a couple of settings I also want to go over with you guys, so you have a better understanding when you can select these things and when you should not, to save storage space, because this is the risk about taking photos and large videos. So if you actually go into settings and click on camera, if you tap formats, if you have a large storage iPhone, I do recommend selecting most compatible instead of highly efficient, in case you have to transfer files to a Windows computer. Because from my understanding, it doesn't really take up that much space, probably about 20 megabytes more. But for large storage users, this isn't an issue. Where it says Apple Pro RAW, I personally prefer leaving this on, because I do like using software like Lightroom and other editing programs. With Pro RAW, yes, the storage to that photo is much larger than having it disabled, but you can actually disable this and enable this on the camera app by default. But I personally prefer leaving it on, and I do have a 48 megapixel camera on my iPhone 14 Pro, which is why I select 48, and this allows me to get some amazing edits after I take a certain shot, because there's more data for me to edit. So just understand, Pro RAW for photos gives you more freedom to edit and enhance images. If you disable this, you're kind of limited because it will be shot as a JPEG. So actually launch the camera app on top. Notice how it says RAW. I have the capability to enable this and disable this right here. So when I'm taking a photo of a mediocre memory, I could disable this. But if I'm taking photo for a professional shoot and I forget my DSLR, I can enable this so I have more editing freedom, which is why it's important to understand this. But notice how I'll switch between live photos as well as raw on demand when I want to. And the beauty about taking a live photo is, yes, it's amazing, because when you take a shot, in case somebody blinks, you can always go back to that photo, tap edit, and actually reline it to the point before that individual blinked. And if you want to send that live photo to an Android user, go on that photo and tap on the 3 dots on the top corner and save it as a video. This way that person can still view it. But there's something cool you can also do. Go into the Shortcut app and once more go on gallery. I have these links in the description as well. But if you go on gallery and you type in convert, there is 3. There's convert burst to gift or convert photos to gift. I personally prefer using burst to photo because now whenever you launch the camera app and you hold down top volume button, it will actually begin taking a photo burst. And now if you go back to that Shortcut app and you locate it on all the shortcuts, tap on here, select that previous photo burst, automatically convert it into a gift save image, or you can send it to that individual you want them to also see. The benefits with gifts is it's repeatable, automatic. And if you're on iOS 17, you can easily set animated wallpapers by tapping the up arrow icon and just select set as wallpaper. And on the very bottom right here on this corner, make sure to enable live wallpaper. And now you have a live animated wallpaper. So return are indeed the animated wallpapers. Now, if you have an Apple Watch is extremely powerful when it's paired to an iPhone, because we launched the Apple Watch camera app to act as a viewfinder, and I've seen some people cleverly create this into like a baby monitoring system on the go. Leave your iPhone facing the baby's crib and monitor your child right here on your wrist. But here you'll find a lot of amazing useful features, such as the capability to switch between different modes and settings, as well as set a timer. Now back in the camera settings, another one I want to go quickly over with is recording settings. So to save maximum storage 1080p 60 fps, it's nice, neutral for the general user. But 4K at 24 fps will make real life cinematic footage. And if I want to, I do shoot at 4K at 60 fps if I know I'm about to shoot this footage, and then slow it down and post edit to make it cinematic. So I typically like switch between 4K 24 and 60 fps for this reason, because 60 fps allows me to slow down the footage to create this amazing effect. And I also highly recommend enabling enhanced stabilization. And if you do a lot of like video editing, I personally prefer leaving HDR video turned off because I notice it doesn't make the video look realistic. Personal preference, play with it, but from my experience, I like having that off. Now, when it comes to shooting real slow motion shots, I know I'm going to be shooting in slow motion. I personally prefer utilizing the maximum 240 FPS. Just note this only works on Mac OS. In cinematic mode, personal preference, 4K 24 works really well. Now where it says grid, level, or mirror front camera, as well as view outside frame. So the grid will create a rule of third, which makes it easy to actually make sure you're capturing the correct subject. Level will actually allow you to make sure that your video, your footage is actually coming out level, not crooked. This way you don't have to edit during post. And then mirror front camera, I personally prefer having this off, but again, you can always change this during post. Now view outside frame, this I personally prefer leaving this on because from my experience, there's time where I take a photo and I want to show a little bit more background. If I go into crop, so long as this feature is enabled, I can still crop out, include more of what was cropped out in the original photo in that picture, which is amazing. If you like taking macro photos, by enabling macro control, if you get close to a plant or like some type of cool fabric material, you can take these macro looking photos which come out looking fantastic, and you have macro control right here on your screen as you get closer to the subject. And all it does is automatically, I like having that on because this little icon pops up and allows me to actually manually control this if I have to. Now another setting I want to go ahead and hover over is in the camera settings where it says preserve settings. And here where it says camera mode, if you leave the camera mode enabled, this will save the last mode you left your camera app at. So if I left it in video and I launch the app one more time, it's not going to go to the default photo, it will stay in the video. So that's what that allows you to do. But I personally prefer having this off due to the fact that this shutter button can do multiple things. So actually long press and you continue long pressing, it will actually automatically start recording, bypassing the need to actually go into video and tapping record, because it will constantly record. And if I move it to the right side, actually lock it and keep it recording until I hit stop. And another cool trick is if you move the shutter button to the left side, photo burst. And if you're wondering how people get the zoom in effect as they record, by long pressing the shutter and zooming in, this will give you the freedom to zoom in and zoom out as you're recording Now if you toggle to the different modes, you may have noticed this upper arrow icon, which will give you access to additional tools. Here you can actually set the radius, the exposure level, set a timer for when taking the selfie or group photos, and you can also enable or disable RAW from here as well. Each mode is different, but it's pretty much self-explanatory once you click on the upper arrow. And on video, with the iPhone 14, you do have the capability to enable or disable action mode. So if you're doing those sprint runnings capabilities and you're not on ultra wide, you can always just enable the action mode right here, as well as change the FPS all right here on demand quickly. Note, action mode high resolution is only 2.8, but again, if you do the ultra wide and you start running, you could record at 4K and still having a nice action cam smooth footage. And if you have to take a photo at night, again, don't use flash, use night mode. Results are actually really good so long as you keep it all steady. The phone will make sure you're in the same place, so the footage comes out looking amazing with that plus icon in the center. And there you guys have it. That's how you can actually utilize the triple camera setup that you have on your iPhone to its full potential, and how you could easily become a content creator yourself. Again, links to those shortcuts pre-made will also be in the description down below. So instead of having to launch the shortcut setting, you can just click on that link and install it right away. Now, if you'd like to find out more about cool things that your iPhone can do, highly recommend checking out the iPhone new features that got added with iOS 17. I covered all the important ones right then and there. Thanks so much for watching.